let's ride. Together we can take the world now. Let's move. Together we can spread the world now. Take you all over the globe and the ends now. Aye, aye, aye. Together we can grow, we can climb the ladder. Together we can build, we be strong forever. Together we can fly, the battle is over. Aye, aye. We just the Jabulani, Hakuna Matata, we celebrating. No worries forever.
Sometime in 1956, a guarding started as a result of the knock findings by the then Surveyor General. Now, as a result of these findings, animals were brought to the market on market days. And the then Surveyor General said to himself, I think we should start a zoo. Now, that zoo and that idea has transformed and blossomed into the renowned Jos Museum Zoological Garden. And now studies show that the garden in 1999 had 62 species of mammals in 25 species and 60 birds in 18 species and 39 reptiles in 25 species. Now we are here to find out on today's episode how true that is. Welcome to today's episode of A Day in Your Neighborhood. My name is Jama Chukuduma. Thank you.
A zoo, which can also be referred to as a zoological garden or a zoological park, is a facility in which animals are housed within safe closures and displayed to the public. There are thousands of zoos around the world, and Nigeria is one of the countries whose zoos contribute to the counting. The Jos Zoological Garden was set up primarily for education, entertainment, training and amusement, according to the manager. The zoo has lost a number of animals from natural deaths and other illnesses, but lives have equally been celebrated as some of the animals have reproduced while in captivity. There are about 30 persons that keep the zoo going on a daily basis, including the veterinary assistants, zookeepers, the technical officer and the cage maintainers, as well as the administration staff. Therefore, when an animal is brought to the zoo, it undergoes several examinations and is secluded and observed before being put on display.
We are here to find out if those things I said in my intro were true. And joining me today is Mr. Jude. Good to see you again, sir.
You're most welcome.
Okay, so we are here at the Zoological Garden.
Yes.
A brief history about this place. How did this place start?
Jos Museum is the only museum that also has a zoological garden attached to it.
Yeah.
We have one or two animals in Makurdi, but it's Jos Museum that has a variety of animals. And like you've rightly said, yes, it started with a lot of animals, but over the years, some of these animals have died. And it is very, very difficult to replace some of these animals that have died because of human rights activists, animal rights activists, who are insisting that animals should not be caged. And apart from that, cross-border acquisition of animals is becoming very, very difficult because like most of these animals are not indigenous to Nigeria. Some of them are gotten from neighboring countries. So it is becoming very, very difficult to replace these animals who have died either because of sicknesses or old age.
Okay, but we have some of these animals still
Yes, we
existing.
still have some of them still existing.
Okay, and just by our rights is the
crocodile pit, yes. The Nile crocodile.
The Nile crocodile.
Yes. The Nile crocodile, we have some of them, the species. The larger one is there. We have smaller ones. And as you feed them, they continue to grow, and they grow throughout their lifespan. And some of them can live over 50 years old. They can live for over 50 years.
For over 50 years?
Yes, those we know in captivity. I don't know those outside, but those we have here, some of them have lived up to over 50 years.
Wow, this is a lot. So what do the crocodiles feed on?
They are essentially flesh eaters. And sometimes these are some of the challenges we are having. They have to feed them with flesh, animal flesh, and with the other carnivorous animals like the lions that we have here and the hyena and some birds of prey that we also have, they are fed with flesh. But we don't feed them with live animals. The animals are slaughtered and the portions shared among all the other reptiles and other animals that eat flesh.
Okay, so I want to ask because the water seems a little bit dirty.
Yes.
Are there times where the water for the crocodile habitat is changed?
Yes. People clean this, they clean the cage from time to time. That's why you can see that it's clean. And what is making it dirty, you can see the leaves are beginning to fall. It is some of these leaves that fall that dirty the water, but from time to time the water is evacuated and replaced so that they will continue to have fresh water, because part of this water they drink too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the next place is, what else do we have here?
Yes, we have the bamboo, dog-faced bamboo.
The dog face.
Yes. And we also have patas monkey. And this is more violent than a dog-faced bamboo, the bamboo. And that is why we have to be careful that they don't escape. Because sometimes we've had issues of these animals escaping from the cage, but they are easily chased and trapped and brought back.
Okay, so you said this is more violent.
Yes,
Now,
the patas monkey.
Because it's violent, so how is this place often cleaned, maintained? Because I can see that the cage is clean.
Yes, it's clean. It is clean every day. What they do is that they lower it into that hut with food. Okay. Once it entered, it is barricaded. Then the workers clean up. After cleaning, then they open them up. And you can see it has just gone into, it's on the cage.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what does it feed on?
Most of them are vegetarians.
Vegetarians.
They eat of vegetables and other fruits that we can do.
Does that go for the...
Oh, yeah. And from time to time, beans and other proteins are added to their food.
Really?
Yes.
You know, when you were giving me a brief history, you talked about that some of the animals are not found here in Nigeria. Yeah. Is this dog baboon one of them? Dog-faced baboon.
Yeah. Some people call it dog face because if you look at it, it resembles a dog. That is what, but the general name is the bamboo. They are called bamboo. Yes, they are found within this country.
Okay. I can see that particular dog-faced baboon is bigger than this. Yes. Does that signify that is older?
No, this is the alpha.
That's a male?
The alpha male, the biggest, in most animals, the strongest male is always the alpha male. Okay. And it's a hierarchy. The alpha male dominates and he has mating rights with all the female. So until it is too old or it has been overthrown by another male, so all the females, the alpha male owns all the female. And all other males and females in the pack fall behind him. He defends them against other pack of the same type of animals or other prey animals. So its duty is not just to protect them, but to also have mating rights to all the female.
Okay, amazing. Okay.
So you're welcome to the chimps section. This is the oldest. Yes, when they did the 50th anniversary for them, there were two, Paulina and Paul. Unfortunately, Paul died just a few months after their 50th birthday. Yeah. So, but Paulina has continued to survive.
Amazing. So what are the names of this? There is one hanging.
Jack and Jane.
Jack and Jane. This
That's
is Jack.
Paulina. Yeah, the female.
She's the female.
And of course, she's smaller. So like the animals operate a hierarchy. So the bigger ones are always more active than.
Are always more active.
Because they dominate. Yeah. So. Mona monkeys.
The Mona monkeys.
Yes.
Aww.
They just had a baby not long ago.
Oh, how many weeks old is the baby?
This is about 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. It's trying to step out. Can't go anywhere. Okay.
So let's go to the other one. Yes, here we have 3 different species of birds. Yeah, we start with the peacock. The peafowl is there. The cock is at the back here. Then the West African crown
Birds.
And then you also have another species. You can see the colors are different,
Yes.
but they are all kept together because they don't attack each other, and of course, for lack of space and other things, so they are grouped together.
Okay, so what do this species of bird eat?
Mostly grains.
Do they drink water?
Yes, you can see the pit there. That's where water is poured for them, and then of course the attendants enter from time to time. It will soon be feeding time. They will bring their grains for them.
Okay, so they are not harmful to humans?
No, they are not.
Okay.
Another species of birds, mostly they are mostly maritime species that you can see. Even from their peaks, you could see that they are maritime, also feeding on flesh and little grains.
Little grains?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly. This is the pen where we have pigeons and doves.
Pigeons
And doves, yes. Wild doves. So we keep them here. You know, some people only see them fly by.
Yeah.
But when you come in here, you see them as close quarters. And,
Wow.
you get
So
to
the
appreciate.
doves you have here, they are wild doves?
They are wild doves.
Wow, I never knew they were wild doves.
Yeah, they are wild doves. This is a rock python.
Oh,
Yes, and a smaller one. The bigger ones are in the snake pit up down here. So this one is newly acquired, and that's why they brought it here. So when it is fully acclimatized to, you know, some animals don't like being caged, but when they are fully acclimatized, it will be moved.
what does this python feed on?
They also feed on flesh.
Flesh.
Rats, what do you call them? Chickens, whatever animals. But we don't kill and give them. They have to kill by themselves.
Why?
So you serve them live, because if you give them, they wouldn't take. They have to kill by themselves. So you have to serve them rabbits, live rabbits, according to their size. The bigger it is, the bigger the animal you serve it.
Jesus, so cute. Sorry.
Yes, those are the chimps.
I really hope to
Reacting.
survive in this zoological
So
garden.
let's move.
Okay,
Here we are approaching the python pit.
the python pit. You mean I'm going towards a pit that is full of pythons?
It's a python.
Oh my God.
Yes, there are about 2 other ones, but this one has come out. And like we said, most of these reptiles continue to grow throughout life, as long as it gets food.
Inside this python pit, I can see tortoise.
Yes.
Why do we have this here?
When we also have the turtle pit down there, so when they lay their eggs, the eggs are, because of lack of space, they brought the eggs and put them here, and they incubated and hatch. Now they can live together because they are all cool-blooded animals. Snakes don't feed on cool-blooded animals. They only feed on warm-blooded animals.
Wow.
So that is why they can cohabit without any danger.
So how many?
There are about 8. Snakes are easy to, especially the pythons, they are easy to keep because the bigger the food they have eaten, the longer it takes to feed them. Because even if they are not hungry, even if you put the animal here, they will not attack. They will not attack it until they are hungry.
Wow. So they are fed once in a month or once in 2 months?
Yes, it depends. Once they molt, that is when they shed their skin. Once they shed their skin, you know they are ready to eat.
How do they shed? How do you know a snake's skin is shed?
Well, of course, you can see the skin is looking dull. Once it shed its skin, you will, I think in the other smaller one, you saw the
was
skin
bright.
at the side. Yeah.
Yes.
Once they shed their skin, they will look fresher because they outgrow the old skin, just like you outgrow your cloth. So as they eat, yes, they outgrow. So they shed the skin off and grow a new one, a fresh one. So anytime they molt, that is a process of shedding their skin. Once they shed their skin, they will start yawning. Once they start yawning, they are hungry.
Amazing. Okay, so what else do you have?
Yes, we had a tortoise here that lived for over 260 years.
260.
Yes, but including the life it lived outside before it was brought here. So the biologists have a way of measuring and telling their age.
So how old are these ones right now?
This one, you can just imagine, like I was saying, the ones you saw at the python pit,
Yes.
how small they are. Those ones are between the ages of 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
So you can, if you compare that with it, you will see that these ones have lived for over 50 to 60 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So what do they feed on as well?
Vegetables.
Vegetables.
With a little flesh from time to time. You see, animals, some are strict vegetarians, some they cross, but mostly they feed them cabbage, vegetables, onions, and other things. Sometimes potato, raw one.
So how many lions do we have in this zoo?
4 now.
4 lions.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the alpha male.
This one is getting very old. Normally, in the wild, lions, their longest lifespan 6 to 10 years. But in the captivity, they live longer because the competition is less. So they can live longer. So the highest lifespan, because they live a very violent life, always in competition, always, because another lion is always struggling to see that it overthrows the other one.
Wow, sir, this is a rare
Yes, it's a rare
privilege.
experience. Yes.
To get to see. I can see the other one.
Yes.
The other 2 over there. Okay, so
This is a female.
this is a female lion.
The lioness. Or the ones with the hair are the male.
So we have 2 males,
Yeah.
2 males and 2 females. This is amazing. I cannot believe I am standing in between 4 lions, 2 males and 2 females. I know you're watching on today's episode of A Day in Your Neighborhood, but you need to feel this for yourself. You have to come to the Jos Museum Zoological Garden. There is still so much to see, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to take you around, but I have to take personal selfies with the lions. Don't worry, I have to.
Just sit down.
Yeah, what up, Sano?
So we have different species of hyena.
Oh my
We
God.
have the spotted and we have the striped. So
Oh my God, are we going to be closer?
yeah, you can be closer.
Jesus Christ. I have never seen an hyena up close. I've only seen this in Lion King. Simba.
That is why we keep them here
Wow.
for people to come and see them as close range.
Okay, so this is the spotted hyena.
Spotted hyena. And spotted because of the black spots you see on it.
Yeah, I can
So-
see them
yes.
down its body.
Yes, they are spotted. Others, the black spots are striped. So that's the difference between the spotted hyena and the striped hyena.
So is the hyena as wild as the lion?
All of them are wild, and you see them in the wild, they clash from time to time. And hyenas can feed on even stronger and heavier bones.
Heavier.
This is the waste, the bones of after feeding the lions, because they don't eat bones.
Wow.
So after consuming the flesh, the bones are gathered, swept out to keep the place clean.
What animal is this?
The jackal. There are 2 of them. They are found within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, especially in the northern part, desert areas and others. So these animals, they feed flesh. So you can see if you count all the number of animals that eat flesh here, it will take, in fact, 1 cow will not be enough to feed all the animals every day.
Wow.
So you can go and average how much does a cow cost. Some of them may need only the intestines. So, but you cannot get the intestine without killing the cow.
The cow.
Yes.
So it feeds on flesh as well.
They feed on flesh.
That is water feed.
Feeds the water.
Okay, so Mr. Ju, do you have any last words for those watching right now?
Yes. My last word will be an appeal. I will repeat again. People can come, adopt animals. Adopt animals. Adoption will mean you feed them. You help in feeding them. You can help take care of them with either drugs, beverages, food items that you eat, whatever we human beings eat. These apes, monkeys, chimpanzees and others, they eat them too. So people can help by donating them. And people can also help to donate their own animals. There are people that keep pets at home who are in danger. They are not being properly taken care of. If they are tired of this or they don't know where to take them, they can bring them to the door and donate them. So we are appealing for both individual, corporate and individual to donate and also adopt these animals and help in the feeding. And apart from that, encourage people to come and visit the zoo so that when they see, they will understand why we are making these appeals. Because government alone cannot do it. We are appealing that people should come and be passionate about the zoo, be passionate about the animals, and keep posterity for our own children and for the generation yet unborn.
Wow, that is a lot. I'm sure we've heard it from Mr. Jude. We've heard it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jude. I enjoyed every single time
You're
I
welcome.
spent here at the Jos Museum Zoological Garden. Wow, this is an amazing place to be. An amazing place to be.
After exploring the zoological garden, we spoke with a veterinary doctor who told us how the animals are being taken care of.
Yes, so like every human being, sometimes there is always a tendency to fall sick. And I believe that's the same thing with the animals here at the zoo. So when the animals fall sick, what do you do?
We treat the animal. And before we treat the animal, we restrain the animal physically using what we call squeeze cage.
Squeeze cage. What is
The
it?
animal inside for us to be able to come near to the animal. You know, the animals are wild animals, so you cannot just come directly to them. They must be in a confined place before you attend to them. Yes.
So when you put them in the squeeze cage, like you said, and what is the next step?
The next step is to observe the animal and prescribe some drugs. After prescribing the drugs, then you inject the animal either by injecting it or by putting the drug inside water or food for the animal to take.
Okay, you talked about observing the animal. How long does it take for you to observe an animal that is sick?
5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. I thought it was hours or days.
No, 5 to 10 minutes. No. 5 to 10 minutes. You observe the animal, and once it is, you confirm that it is sick, and you make prescription. That is what we call tentative diagnosis. Samples like urine, feces, saliva. You take it to the laboratory for confirmation. So after the confirmation, you may change the drug. The fact that you give tentative diagnosis, that doesn't mean that you cannot treat the animal. You keep treating the animal. When the confirmatory result comes out from the lab, then you may change the drug. And then the mostly treatment of animal, we do it between 5 to 7 days. After that one, you withdraw and observe the animal.
I noticed that some of the animals had reproduced. Now, when a female animal is pregnant, how do you take care of a pregnant animal?
Okay, what we do is to step the feeding of that animal. The female animal that is pregnant, you step the feeding of the animal.
You stop the feeding.
You step it up.
Oh, you step it up.
Yes, you step the feeding. Maybe if you are feeding the animal maybe once in every 2 days. For the pregnant one, you feed it every day so that the baby can be able to have enough nutrition. Yes.
Okay, so how do you know that the lady or the female is ready to give birth? Let's take, for example, a monkey. How many months does it take a monkey to be pregnant, and when does it deliver?
A monkey is from 110 days.
110 days.
Gestation period. Yes, 110 days. Once the female animal have taken in, the gestation period, that is the period of the pregnancy, is 110 days. Then it can give birth.
Okay, so how do you deliver a monkey of a child, or does it deliver by itself?
Delivered by itself.
So it doesn't need your help.
It doesn't need our help.
So-
It's delivered by itself.
Okay, so do you?
Where there is complication like dystocia. Dystocia is difficulty in giving birth. So in that case, then we can intervene either by doing cesarean sectioning or yes.
So did you say cesarean section for a monkey?
Yes.
Wow.
We do cesarean sectioning and take the baby out. Yes.
Cesarean sessions. So when the baby is brought out, now you know, like in the human world, when a lady gives birth, she stays in the hospital for 2-3 days. Does that apply to the monkey?
But the monkey, yes, it applies to them. We take that monkey, that particular one that have undergone cesarean section, to what we call the quarantine section, where it will stay to recuperate. Once it recuperates, we return it back to its normal cage. It stayed with the baby there.
Amazing. Okay, Okay, does that apply to the lion? Do you do cesareans for the lions as well?
There is difficulty in giving birth, we can do that.
So how do you hold the lion to do a cesarean on it?
I told you before that there is what we call the squeeze cage. We manipulate the animal into that squeeze cage, then we can take care of
So
it.
the animal
Once the animal is inside the squeeze cage, we can give it anesthesia. So once the animal is on anesthesia, you can remove the animal out of that squeeze cage and work on the animal. Let me start one more thing to this discussion, and that thing is zoonosis. Zoonosis is a disease that can be transmitted from human beings to animals and from animals to human beings. Example, tuberculosis. Tuberculosis can be transmitted from animals to human beings and from human beings to animals. Then another zoonosis is rabies. Rabies, which is called hydrophobia, is a disease of mad dog. It can be transmitted from animals to human beings and from human beings to animals. Another disease which we call it abortion disease is called brucellosis. This disease can be transmitted also from animals to human beings, and it causes abortion in the female animals or the female human beings. There are about over 250 zoonoses in the world that have been recorded. So
I want to ask a very important question. You talked about transmitting from human to animal. So how does this transmission happen?
by contact with any animal that is having that disease, especially contact with the urine, saliva, contaminated food that the animal have eaten, and then it dropped the very organism that can cause that disease. You know, when you come in contact with it, you can go down with it.
Okay, so it's important that when you come to the zoo, that is why we have the cages, to have your distance from the animals. Even though the animals are well treated, it is also important that you take precautions and stay where the cages are, where you have the barriers. Thank you so much, sir.
Also, we spoke with the cage maintenance and the technical officer who told us how the cages are being reinforced regularly.
Sir, I know that my viewers are wondering, to have wild animals like this, how are they able to contain these animals with the kind of cages? So tell us about it.
Yes, these cages were constructed by the white men. In maintaining those cages, we call it reinforcement. As you reinforce cages, you look at how other areas that are weak. Those that are weak, most especially the lion cage. Urine, when the lion urinated, you found that the urine is acidic. So that acid, chop up at time the mesh wire. We call it the iron, the net you see.
Sorry, excuse me. Are you saying that the urine of the lion can eat up the ions?
Yes.
Amazing.
You see, that is the biggest reason why we call for painting. We spread the cages to avoid corrosive, to avoid those cages being rusted. In maintaining those cages, you use strong irons. After using those strong irons, you need to double the irons. For that of the chimpanzee, you can see the way we reinforced it. We double it so that, chimpanzees are strong in nature. They're like human beings. So if they find any small weak area that is being weakened, they use their hand. At times they tear it, or they try to break the wire or the rods. So that's why it's called for serious reinforcement.
Been to many zoos, but never had the experience that I had here at the Jos Museum Zoological Garden. Now, adventurous, scary, fulfilling, a long time and a lifetime experience I will not forget in a hurry. Now, seeing the chimpanzees, the crocodiles, the dog-faced baboons, the hyenas, even the lion itself has struck up a new love for nature. Now, I appreciate Mother Nature and these varieties of life were given to us by God to enjoy and subdue the earth. Nature is a lovely place to be. Now you want to experience this, all of this that I have said for yourself, the Jos Zoological Garden is the place to visit. Now this is as much as we can bring you on today's episode of A Day in Your Neighborhood. Remember, we're all about exploring the rich cultures of our land. Just keep watching because your community might just be next.